Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Collinwood for YouTube. Back with another Dark Shadows video for you guys and gals finally, right? I'm here to do a reaction and review video of episode 37, so here we go. Here, here's the opening. Victoria's doing the narration. Alexander Mulkey. Or, sorry, Alexander Isles. Says she can't sleep. So, Alexander's character is telling us she can't sleep, but it's not just her that can't sleep. Um, the tensions are rising hour by hour. And, who do we see? We see Roger Collins. Why not? Standing in the drum room. I love how Lewis Edmonds is like holding his hand like this and he's rubbing it and he brings it up to his mouth. This is a great shot by Leela Swift. Who else? Who else? Right? Don't get me wrong. I love the other directors of Dark Shadows, but Leela Swift does something with the camera work that is beyond whatever. You can go back and watch this episode if you want. I really love the way she does her camera work. Don't get me wrong, Danton Curtis Productions does a great job. Lewis Edmonds is Roger's turning on the light here. He's going to dial the phone. And who's he dialing? Mr. Sam Evans. I like how David Ford is just sitting there chilling in his own room, in his own kitchen, living room. He answers the phone. He's I like how he's like, he answers the phone. You got the wrong number. Could you? This this isn't this was humor. This is humorous now, and I actually did this like when caller ID first came around. They're like, yeah, I know you got caller ID. Oh, the days you could pull that off. Yeah, wrong number. You got the wrong number. Some people still do dial the wrong number. It's I have fat fingers. Sam Evans, what do you want now? Roger wants complete peace of mind. So Roger wants to know from Sam, what do you plan to do about Burke? And uh, um, Sam tells him nothing. You're not serious. Again, this is the days in Dark Shadows are very long. Because again, just because you're getting a different episode doesn't necessarily mean you're getting a different day. This is It's getting late at night though. He tells them the hours are passing for both of them. Roger tells Sam that. I love how Lewis Edmonds just hands up the phone. Doesn't slam it this time. We're not slamming phones. We're not past slamming phones, but and I love how he walks and who's standing there? Victoria Winters, Alexander's character, and that's the opening. Because the idea, obviously, and it's a great job by Leela Swift and obviously Art Wallace. Um, the idea is how long has she been standing there? How long has she been standing there listening? We know Vicky can. He asked her that too. He scolded her. So Roger, obviously, upon seeing her, now he's accused her of stuff before, so this is going to be nothing new. But I guess the newest part of it is he's accusing her of eavesdropping, listening on his conversation. Victoria has already said, "I just came down to get something to read." She's playing it off as, "Hey, I basically." She's playing it off as, "Hey, I just came down the stairs and into the foyer as you were, coming, as you were walking. That's how she's going to play this off. She says, I didn't know anyone was down here. Now you know. And knowing's half the battle. G.I. Joe. Yeah, I went there. That still applies in the 60s. Even it applies everywhere. So he does ask her, how long have you been standing there? And she says, I just got down when you walked past me, or walking past me. He asked her how much of my phone conversation did you hear? She says, none of it. None of it, Roger. I like her. I like her question. Why should I be interested in your phone conversation? He scolded her. It's great. So Victoria Winters is Roger's basically threatening, "Hey, I'll have you thrown out the house." And Vicky's like, "Well, maybe you ought to talk to your sister about that one." And I love this right here because Victoria is telling him that they had a conversation earlier, um, that Victoria wanted to leave, and Elizabeth talked her out of it. Good stuff. Good stuff. I love the close-ups of the face here of Lewis Edmonds. He's so stone-faced, like he's looking at her with this intense look. And he looks away and he looks back and he's a little more calm. He's not so serious. It's great. It's a great job by the actor, sort of reposturing himself. I love this here. He says, if you did hear any of my conversation, just pretend you didn't hear it, pretend it never existed. And he asks her, "Are you clear?" She says, "Quite clear." It's a really, really great interaction. Obviously, these two have been working episodes together. They're used to each other's character, but you still have Alexander playing Victoria Winters as this sweet, innocent girl. Is she? Yes, but also keep in mind, as Roger pours himself a brandy, it's actually tea. Um, so here's Sam Evans. He's drinking too. I love we have two characters who can't stand one another in Sam Evans and Roger Collins. What are they doing? They're both drinking. Good times. Good times. And here's Maggie Evans, Kathleen Lee Scott. Yeah, we're at the Evans cottage again. She's looking at the clock. Uh, oh, it's past one. It's past 1 a.m. So I'm like looking at that clock. It's past 1 a.m. I think it's just a little after. It's like 17 after one. The way that clock was at red. It's that late, and people are awake. Now he tells her to go back to sleep, so it lets you know that Maggie Evans was sleeping. And I love how they got bags under Sam's eyes, and Maggie Evans points them out. Great, great job by Kathleen Lee Scott. Great job. She says, "I know you're a marvelous human being." he he tells her, "Then listen to this wonderful, marvelous human being. Go back to sleep." That is great. That is good. Again, I love how we see Sam's portraits. We see the portrait of some boats, fishing of a fishing dock. Um, very, very good. We see some small boats. We see a sailing boat too, and all in one portrait, all in one painting. Really good. And then we see a painting. of a woman who I do believe is a that picture in the background on the what will be your left, which is my left now, which is Sam's right. I know I'm going to confuse the hell out of people. That portrait is actually a portrait of Maggie's mother. The face, that's what it's supposed to be. That is not the portrait of the woman who looks like Victoria Winters. We're not there yet. We're going to get there, but we're not there yet. And here Sam's writing a letter. This is a confession letter too. It's the confession of a lifetime. I do like how they pace the episodes of Dark Shadows. They're really well paced. Do they feel long? I think where they feel long to maybe some people, I don't know, but to me they don't, is because the days last so long. Like, we're still we're on the day after, like, of when Vicky found the bleeder valve. So we're still on that day. Um, oh no, we're on the next day. Sorry. So we're on the day after Vicky found the bleeder valve, and everyone has a reaction to it and stuff. And it seems to last a long time because, as I've mentioned with these episodes, just because you're getting a new episode doesn't mean you're getting a brand new day in Dark Shadows. Sometimes a lot of the times, you're getting that very same day that something happened. Also on this day, we're getting David Ford's Sam Evans, who wrote a letter, and now he's talking to his daughter, Maggie Evans again. He keeps telling her to go back to bed. uh, I love what Kathleen Lee Scott does here. She stops behind him and she looks at him, but her eyes look more toward that letter. Great camera work and great job by Kathleen Lee Scott's facial, like, eye movement. Great job. That's one of the most to me. There are a lot of underrated things about Dark Shadows, and I'm going to talk about him here while he's writing his name here or writing a name. One of the most A lot of the most underrated things about the DS, other than the side characters, is the eye movement, the facial expressions by the actors and actresses. And he tells her that that letter is for her. It's a letter to his daughter, and it's a private letter. She tells him, "You didn't have to write me letters. You can talk to me about anything you want. There's just some things you can't bear to say, Maggie." He doesn't say that, but I'm saying it. He tells her, "Don't show it to anybody. Don't ask any questions. Do as I ask." I like that. How can I promise when I don't know what it is? He said, "Because I ask you to." These are. I know David Ford didn't start off with this character, but he does a great job of picking up where Mark Allen left off. He really. He's not necessarily straying from what Mark Allen did. He's more adding a lot more depth to what Mark Allen did. And no one, I feel David Ford does not get enough credit for that character. I love that the kettle's making this high pitched sound, and he tells her, "Will you turn that kettle off?" It's a great sound effect. It's a great, nice job of the sound effect department with the kettle. He's getting some more booze. It's tea. It's tea. I promise. I've been well informed. uh, he he tells her, "Only read it if something happens to me." She's like, "What do you expect to happen to you?" And something Maggie's been doing throughout is pointing towards the Collins family about her father's problems, and she says this. She's saying this letter has something to do with Collinwood, doesn't it? He's she's in every way, Kathleen Lee Scott's Maggie Evans isn't so much asking a question, she's more trying to confirm a suspicion. And it's a great job the way they do it. You can tell that she suspects. You can tell that her character's been suspecting ever since Burt came back, that Roger's been trying to talk to him. It's very, very interesting. He gives her a kiss on the cheek. Oh, she says it was Roger Collins. Which, I mean, this is not the first time she's thrown shade at that about Roger. Again, it's a really great job continuing the ongoing story between multiple characters because multiple characters are involved, and it impacts multiple characters too, like Sam's daughter Maggie. I love the shot of the staircase. Uh, We hear crying, more crying, and here's Vicky. She's still in her night clothes. She got slippers on. Trying to see. Uh, so we hear the echo of crying, and Victoria Winters is asking who's there. She does have slippers on, or night shoes, I should say, but they're slippers or night slippers. Bedroom slippers, I guess you'd call them. She keeps hearing crying. We're gonna come to learn this is Elizabeth, not in this episode, but later. She walks into the drawing room. The crying is continuing, and nothing. There's nobody there. We just hear crying. It's coming from the basement, Becky. This is like very. This is very people under the stairs moment. It feels strange sounds. Vicky opens the door to where the kitchen goes and she walks through it. But just see, that door goes into the kitchen, but it also leads to other parts of the house. Like it leads to the basement because here's a shot of the basement. It's the basement door, the secret door where Paul Stoddard is buried. He's not really buried there. Really great crying sound effects. Here's the basement staircase. There's Vicky coming down it. There's a pickaxe. There is a pickaxe right there. That is nice. Nice. The crying's still going on. And there's Vicky. She's walking toward that door. Vicky, who is it? And then the crying just stops. As she asks who's there. The door's locked. It's locked from the inside. Here, so we hear footsteps. Who is it? It's Roger. Actually, I know who this is. But so, we see dress shoes. It's nice to see that Vicky walks down here in bedroom slippers. Roger walks here in his dress outfit. He still is not dressed for bed. He's so serious looking. I love that question. He asked her, "Are you still looking for something to read, Miss Winters?" And it's a very serious tone. And she says, "I heard crying." He goes, "I see. Do you normally go prowling in the basement when you hear something crying?" He tells her, I told you I would not, you know, tolerate your constant snooping and prying." I love what again, great interaction because Vicky tells him, "I heard crying behind that door." Roger, Lewis Edmonds' character, goes over. He shakes the door. He actually does pull out the knob. Uh, it's locked, as you can see. She said, "I still heard crying." Didn't you hear it? She asked me. I love Lewis Edmonds' response here as his character. I have more important things on my mind. That's Roger's MO. I have more important things. Like that brandy upstairs. Not, he didn't say that, I did. Lewis just does a great job of basically dismissing everything. You could say it's denial, I mean, sure. But she says, he tells her, hey, this is an old house. You'll hear strange sounds like that from time to time. And he's yelling at her, too, while doing this. He's cutting a promo on her. I mean, he uses, go watch this episode. He is flat yelling at her. Like, and then the phone rings, saves Vicky from the more scolding. Victoria shuts the light out in the basement. I forgot she did that. I'm all love the cobweb views we get, and more crying. The crying continues. Now, if you know that's Elizabeth, you know she heard that exchange. Like, come on, Roger. Hello. Older calls. I love that. She says, if that was a Mr. Coulter, your sister was very anxious to talk to her, which is true. Vicky's telling him the truth. And he's like, you really do know about what everything that goes on in here, around here. She said she heard a call that she made to him earlier this evening. I love Lewis Edmonds. More scolding. He's like, were you hired as my sister's personal secretary? Now, to me, we've seen Roger sort of be, I almost call it violent but loud toward Vicky, but I feel this here is where he's a lot more firm with her than he ever was before, because with each episode with Victoria, the more firmer and firmer he becomes, which I like, because though I don't buy that he's going to be your antagonist, he's at least coming across as antagonistic. And it's a great job by Lewis Edmonds by doing so. Yes, Roger's charming, but we're keeping the antagonistic traits here, or heelish traits, I'll call them too. But they're here. And you could see by the tone of his voice in this episode toward Victoria. Is it primarily because of Victoria? She's just one of many reasons. Obviously, Burt Devlin, obviously, Sam Evans. A lot of things are somewhat beginning to boil for Roger, and he feels he's losing control. He, Roger Roger tells Victoria Winters, if you want to go up and tell my sister's whole thing, you can. I love Victoria's line. Look for another lecture on my duties, because he tells her to wait. Now here comes the charm right back. This is what I mean. Roger says, I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. Do you believe me? And now he's real calm. He says, now I want to talk to you. Can we go in the drawing room, please? Great job by Lou Sedman's pulling that 180. You can tell these actors were so on point. Both actor and actress. The chemistry is insane. She's like, you must be angry at me. And she's like, I love how Vicky has her back to him. Yes, I am. And her face is so serious. He says, I'm sorry for yelling at you. And she goes, for without reason. Roger, why burden Elizabeth with our quarrels? Love Vicky. It was hardly a petty quarrel. I I love Alexander's eyes here. They're both sort of angry and furious at the same time. She doesn't show her lips are just normal. Her face is this like pose, but she has like this angry and furious pose at him. It looked like she just wants to clock him. It's so good. It's so good. And now he's charming her. He's trying to charm her. Now he's telling her it was just my pressures and my anxiety. Well, you believe me, don't you? Oh, love that question. What is your true feeling? Now, if you're a character who just says, "Oh, I don't understand," why are you asking? What's his true feeling? I see. I don't buy that BS. Again, because I've watched Dark Shadows enough to know that what where writers take characters is often the writer's responsibility. But Victoria was not just a character who just said, oh, I just don't understand. She did ask questions. But some of the you got to understand too. Some of the answers she's being given by certain characters, there's only so much she can fact check. Remember, this is 1966. Not this video is 1960. The episode is 1966. Specify, I guess. The sobbing, you did hear it, didn't you? She asked him. Roger gets up. I love Louis Edmund's posture. He gets up and starts walking away. And he shakes his head, says yes. Where did it come from? He says, I don't know. He says, I heard it many times before. So we have a confirmation that the sobbing is all too real. I love Roger's line here. Ghost can seem real. Again, great episode. All right, yeah, that's the end of the episode. Wow. These episodes go quicker than you think. A really, obviously, again, a really great job chemistry between Alexandra and uh, Louis Edmonds. You know, or no, sorry, Roger and Victoria. I really love the scenes too between Catherine Lee Scott and uh, David Ford. Again, I often feel David Ford doesn't get enough credit for really picking up the ball and running with the character of Sam Evans because he's the Sam Evans you're going to come to remember most, and for good reason. And you see when you go back and watch these episodes, you see a lot of that reason. I feel, um, but I do feel when you go back and watch these episodes, you get a better appreciation for Victoria as a character. That she wasn't just some character who said, "Oh, I don't know." No, she didn't just say that. She did ask questions. And sometimes she got answers to those questions. She got an answer to a question in this episode, episode 37. Uh, you did hear the sobbing, didn't you? She asked Roger, and Roger says, yes. And he says, Vicky feels it couldn't have been a ghost. And Roger just says, a ghost can seem very real, Miss Runners. All too real. And it's a great line to end the episode because for all the yelling Roger does, you sort of get sorrow built back up for him that he's heard this sobbing too. Again, I talked about Shades of Grey before with Barnabas. I feel that's more the road they're walking at times with Roger. Other than the manslaughter, that's the most heelish thing he's did and covered it up. And yes, he should have went to jail for it, but he didn't. Which you're gonna come to find out eventually. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a good day.